Hey guys, Vytas here. I want to give you a couple tips on how to transition into arm balances. I'm not going to teach the full poses of these arm balances, but I want to give you a few general principles that'll help you as you try to move into not only the ones I'm going to show you, but most arm balances. You're going to benefit from this. All right, so the first one I want to talk about is just how to use your hands, okay? So I'm going to demonstrate this in Baskauskas, which is pretty simple hand balance, all right? When you set it up, all right, so I'm going to get my knees into my armpits, which is a good way to start for Baskauskas, and I'm going to put my hands about shoulders distance apart. Okay, now, oftentimes people start to shift into their hand balance, and their fingers aren't doing a lot of work. All right, they just lean into it, and they try to have all the weight on their palms, and they're a bit shaky. They want to fall forward. All right, what I want you to do here is to really focus on what you're doing with your fingers, almost like you're grabbing at the mat. All right, so you got to put a lot of energy into your fingertips. Even though your palms are flat, it's like you're clawing at the mat. So your fingertips are going to act as kind of your control and your brake so you don't fall forward. All right, so I come up and I really grab with the tips of my fingers, and that's going to help give me the control to come all the way up into my arm balance. All right, so that is super helpful no matter what arm balance you're doing, Baskauskas, Galavasana, side crow, and especially for those of you that want to do a handstand, it's all about those fingertips. What are your fingertips doing? That's what's going to help you out. Now, I talked about the setup, right? So the transitioning into the arm balance. The setup is of utmost importance. So where you place your knees on your arms or your legs on your arms, there's always a little bit of leverage. Most of these arm balances are really not about brute strength, all right? Yeah, somebody that's really strong could maybe do them just with a sheer amount of muscular energy, but we want to use precision, all right? So here, the higher I get my knees up on my arms, the easier it's going to be for Baskauskas, all right? In different poses, the technique's different, but for Baskauskas, it's really that setup, getting the knee high up into the armpit. If my knee is down here on my elbow, it's almost going to fall off the shelf, whereas if my knee is way up here in the armpit, there's so much of a shelf for it to rest on, and I can push my arms all the way towards straight, okay? So, using the fingertips, really being precise with that setup. And then one last tip I want to give you is as you transition, right, you're lifting your lower body off the ground. All right, so that's a lot of weight. Most of our weight is in our lower body, so I want you to use some abdominal strength. So I want you to hug the belly in. Okay, so as you shift, as soon as you feel that weight go into your hands, suck up. All right, feel your abdominal wall engage, and that's going to help you hold the pose. So I set it up, I grab with my fingertips, and at that last moment, the belly hugs in, and it really helps me suck it up. The belly hugging in helps me hold the pose. Okay, so let me give you another example. We'll do a different posture. I'm going to do Galavasana. All right, some people call it flying pigeon. Okay, so for flying pigeon, maybe the other side might be better to show you guys. So I'm going to take one knee onto one arm and one foot around the other arm. This is what I call the setup, remember? So my knee is going to go into my right armpit, and my foot is going to wrap around my left arm. Okay, so knee on one arm, foot around the other arm. And this foot's really going to be flexed. All right, so I have my setup, and I'm ready to go. I walk my hands forward, and I engage those fingertips. I grab the ground. I slide my foot back. And at that last moment, belly up, I suck it up, and I can do my arm balance. Okay, so those are the tips I really want you to remember. Be mindful with the setup. Grab with the fingers, and suck it in. And you have a nice, strong arm balance. All right, I'll see you on the mat.